Okay folks, good morning. We are in the wonderful Wistman's wood, and today I wanted to talk to you about wide-angle photography in woodland. And I'm using today what I think is one of the best value wide-angle lenses you can get, which is the Viltrox 20mm f.2. It is brilliant value for the money. It's a sharp lens, it's fantastic. And most of the footage today and most of the shots today are going to be taken on this lens. So, going to start with different compositions, going to start with, there's no mist today, so the scenes and compositions are going to be quite kind of busy, and that is the real challenge. When you've got mist, it's quite easy. In conditions like this, we've got bright, beautiful blue skies and beautiful sunshine, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's very easy to photograph. So let's see what compositions we can find and go from there. So here we are at the first composition, which is literally about 10 foot away from where I was just standing. Now, what I'm going to do with this, I've just got my monitor here because I just wanted you to be able to see the screen and see how I'm setting up this composition. So first thing is, what I'm looking for, because it's a wide angle prime, you need to obviously move with the camera to get the shot where you want it to be. I was looking at landscape compositions, but I think for this a portrait composition's best. On the front of the camera, I don't know if you can just about see, but I've got a polarizer here. And polarizers in woodland just allow you to really work on getting as many greens out as possible and really polarizing the light. So taking away some of that harsh glare from the leaves, for instance, on the right-hand side here. So first things first. So need to get the settings right. So I'm at ISO 100. I'm on f11 at the moment, and then I'm just going to find my focus. I'm just going to zoom into an area and just make sure that that is perfectly in focus. So at the moment it's on a 20th of a second, so you don't have to use a tripod, but I find with wood photography it gets dark very, very quickly, and the ability to expose to a level that you want without getting any camera shake is really affected. So I think it's really important to have a tripod when you're photographing. I think also when you're using a wide angle prime like this, any small movements make a very, very big difference. Now the sun is just going in, so I'm just going to get a couple of shots before it goes in completely. Oh no, it's kind of coming back again. Okay. So I'm going to bracket it on 3 exposures. I'm just going to take 3 separate exposures. Now, there are various different compositions that you could go for. So I was going for a scene like this. Whoop, a lot of glare coming in there. Oh, one thing to note with polarizers, when you put a polarizer towards the sun, you quite often get a really bad lens flare coming in. Polarizers aren't good when you're photographing towards the sun, so you should always stay at a good angle, preferably 45 degrees or 90 degrees away. So there are loads of other compositions that we could take from the scene, and it's just about getting the right height and the right perspective in order to take them. So trying to isolate individual trees, and even getting some of that glare in on purpose just to give it a sense of atmosphere and mood. Yeah, I'm not 100% about the shot, but I'm going to take it anyway and just see how we go. I think what I'm going to do is just move into the shade so that I don't get the amount of lens flare. Right, so again, I'm exposing 3 times. I think bracketing a scene in woodland is really, really important because you need to be able to get those extreme darks and the extreme lights, especially if you happen to be shooting into the sun like I am. We're always told not to shoot into the sun for various reasons, lens flare and lack of clarity and all those kind of things, but I think shooting into the sun and woodland is just fantastic. The one thing that I would use, and I use it all the time, isn't necessarily a lens hood, it's my hand. Now you feel a bit silly doing it, but right now, in this particular shot, I've got a hideous lens flare. Now, all you need to do, just look for where your fingers are in the shot. Sorry, I'm not film recording this time to show you what I'm doing, but just look for your fingers, take your fingers out of shot, and if you haven't got the glare, then you're not going to have the lens flare coming in, and take the shot. Bracket of 3. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get a relationship between these two. So, so this wonderful old bent tree, and then this kind of diagonal rock here, and then obviously the information around it. So a couple of things. When you're doing this, you might want to take more than 2 focus areas, and you might want to focus stack this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a, first of all, a focal point of the, I'm going to take a focus, if I can find it, where's it gone, on the tree. So I'm just going to have to do this for a second. Oh. There we go, lovely job. Right, so I'm going to do one on the tree, and then I'm going to do another one. Let's tighten up my tripod for a second. On the background, still with my arm out on both occasions, otherwise you get very bad lens flare. So, going for 1 exposure on the tree, so 3 exposures on the tree, sorry. Okay, and then I'm going to go and take another lot of shots for the background. So I've got those 3 exposures, and I've got 2 focal areas, one for the foreground of the tree and rock, and one for the background, so you can get everything in focus. Now, you can use, you can just kind of put it on f8 and hope for the best, but I find most of the time, if you want to get foreground detail when you're quite close up to something, you quite often need to focus stack it. Now, focus stacking is a bit of a pain, and I'll show you how to do it. But it is worth it because you end up with an image which is sharp throughout the range. So here we are, another beautiful little composition here. What's amazing, this tree here, looking for negative space is really important in woodland, and finding this kind of zigzag pattern built from the rock and then the tree kind of leaning into it and it's spiraling up, that composition can work quite well. Now, there's nothing to stop you using, you know, everyone always talks about shooting on f11 to get as much kind of sharpness as possible, but sometimes when you want a bit of background blur, it is quite handy, as long as you're careful not to get any kind of vignetting on the edges, to shoot at lower f-stop. So I'm going to shoot this at f2.8. Now it's more likely to get a bit of lens flare in, so you need to be quite careful. In fact, I might go for like 3.5. I'm going to just focus on the center, take 3 bracketed shots, and then I might focus towards the top of the tree as well, just to get another focus point, just in case that's off. Now, it's great when you're there, you've got the flexibility. So I did one on f3, then I'm just going to do another set on f8, just in case. Bring that down to the center and take another shot. So now I've got 3 different exposures, I've got 2 different focus areas, and I've got 2 different f-stops. So, but getting that ability to just push back your scene a little bit, if you're close enough to it, a meter, a couple of meters away, you will get some background separation between the subject and the background. But more importantly, it's looking for those compositions and taking time to be in the space. You can quite often feel rushed in landscape photography and in woodland photography because of the light or the the environment being just right at that particular moment. But I think rushing is a real mistake in terms of looking for compositions. Now, I think all of these compositions are too busy, and they probably do need mist for them to be proper finished compositions to get that separation, because there's so much going on in these scenes. But the light today is absolutely gorgeous, and that's what we're really capturing here today. Okay, people, as the sun is just setting over the hill on lovely Dartmoor, we've come to the end of our wonderful day, and I've really enjoyed photographing just with a fixed lens. I mean, it has its challenges. You have to really position yourself well. I think this Viltrox 20mm is really open to flare, so you need to be quite careful with flare and contrast. But it's also got really, really beautiful background bokeh. It's great for filming, and it's great for wide-angle work in woodland and getting these vast scenes of Dartmoor as well. Composition-wise, it's really, really important to be really careful with your composition. Really make those small adjustments like I showed you on the first shoot. Just slowly moving in and out of the scene, moving around on the scene, and relying less on zooming in and out with the lens and relying more on zooming in and out with your legs, trying to get slightly different angles, trying to get different perspectives. And I think the most important thing about woodland, more than anything, is you need to be able to make mistakes. So a lot of woodland photography, slightly too busy, the composition's not quite right. It doesn't matter. You'll find that 1 in 100 shots works absolutely beautifully, and it's that 1 in that 100 that really counts. So, see you on the next one. Bye for now.